You know, when you watch a lot of movies, you start to notice some patterns, especially with the bad guys. I've spent way too much time thinking about the villains from Illumination, from the silly ones to the truly sneaky.
Joy and happiness will be gone as well.
The revolution has begun! Liberated forever!
The city gets eaten!
We're going to put them all in order, from the ones who barely made a ripple to the real masterminds of mischief. 16th Mike. Kicking off our list at the absolute bottom, we have the one, the only, Mike the Mouse. Calling this pint-sized Sinatra wannabe a villain is like calling a puddle an ocean. It's an insult to actual, genuine scumbags everywhere. This tiny terror isn't driven by some epic quest for power. He's powered by a severe case of small man syndrome and an ego bigger than his entire body count, which, by the way, is 0. This dude's entire life anthem is my way, but seriously, the only way he does anything is the wrong way. His big criminal debut? Being an absolute menace in a singing competition line, then he's throwing down in a poker game with freaking bears, like they're just oversized teddy bears. Of course, he gets caught cheating because, well, he's Mike. Then the financial genius racks up enough credit card debt to fund a small nation, all to buy a fancy car to impress a girl who's clearly out of his league. And what does he do with this ill-gotten ride? Reckless driving. But the absolute peak of his villainy, or lack thereof, is when he rats out Buster Moon, leading to the utter destruction of the Moon Theater. He's an accessory to massive property destruction, not because he's evil, but because he's a spineless little rodent. He ends up in the sewer, which, let's be real, is where he belongs. And get this, he initially refuses to perform at the revival show unless there's cash involved. It takes another animal insulting his talent for his microscopic ego to kick in. For being the most useless, self-absorbed character to ever grace a villain list, Mike gets 1.5 years probation, a $140,550 fine, a permanently negative credit score, and points off his license. Now get off my screen, you little punk. 15. Sergey. From one bottom feeder to another, let's talk about Sergey, the guy whose entire personality is just shouting in a bad accent. This dude is the poster child for B-list villainy, a walking, breathing what not to do for aspiring bad guys. He runs the Sergey's Circus of Fun, which, spoiler alert, has absolutely 0 fun and 100% misery. Sergey's crimes aren't some grand master plan. They're just plain nasty. We're talking animal cruelty on a whole new level. This is active, malicious torture. He's whipping a terrified white tiger cub and threatening to turn him into a rug. A rug? Who even thinks of that? That's creatively psychotic. His whole operation is sketchier than a back alley tattoo parlor. We've got an illegal circus, straight up animal trafficking, and even dog napping. And don't even get me started on the workplace harassment. He yells at his human staff just as much as his animal prisoners. This guy's an equal opportunity monster, folks. He's got no charm, no wit, nothing. His only friend is a scared little monkey. This dude is the kind of villain that makes other villains cringe. He's less of a criminal mastermind and more of a grumpy, abusive slob who somehow stumbled into owning some exotic animals. His big plan to get his tiger back? Just brute force his way through. No genius, no strategy, just Neanderthal rage. And the grand finale? He's taken out by a cat lady who hits him with her car twice. It's a humiliating, pathetic end for a humiliating, pathetic man. For his disgusting catalogue of cruelty and his utter lack of ambition, Sergey gets 5 years in prison, a $22,100 fine, his circus shut down forever, and all his animals sent to a loving sanctuary. Enjoy the soap, Sergey. 14. The Grinch. All right, moving up the ladder of larceny, we have a true legend of the game, a household name in holiday-hating The Grinch. Now, before you start yelling, but he turned good, let's rewind that holiday tape. For 53 years, this dude was basically the king of being a grumpy hermit. His backstory? Oh, boo-hoo, I was an unloved orphan. Yeah, well, lots of us had rough childhoods, Grinch, but we didn't try to cancel Christmas for an entire town. This was the heist of the century. We're talking a meticulously planned, brilliantly executed conspiracy to swipe an entire holiday. His only accomplice, his poor, innocent dog Max, who was clearly forced into indentured servitude and suffered the ultimate indignity, an antler glued to his head. Animal cruelty, Grinch. He hit 168 houses in one night. He committed grand larceny on a town-wide scale, snagging presents, decorations, food, and even the last can of Who Hash. Then he pulls the ultimate perfect disguise stunt, fooling adorable little Cindy Lou Who with a shoddy Santa suit, which, let's be real, is basically child abuse through emotional manipulation. He was literally about to dump all of Whoville's joy into the abyss, but then he heard them singing, and his shriveled little pea heart got all warm and fuzzy. From a pure villain perspective, this is the ultimate faceplant. He got soft. He caved. He gave back all the stuff and apologized. What a chump. So, while his one night of epic festive felony was legendary, his lack of commitment to the dark side puts him low on our list. He was originally staring down life plus 26.75 years and a hefty fine, but thanks to that sudden surge of sappy sentimentality, he got off scot-free. Lucky Grinch. 13. The Chef. Heating things up a bit, we have a villain whose culinary passion has boiled over into a full-blown psychotic obsession. The Chef. This guy makes Gordon Ramsay look like a cuddly Care Bear. Seriously, he's not trying to take over the world. Nope. His main goal in life is to capture and cook one specific family of ducks. I'm not even kidding. He basically threw the biggest temper tantrum ever because some ducks dared to escape his restaurant. We're talking workplace harassment and straight up assault on his own employees for not chopping veggies fast enough. But when those mallard ducks decided to fly the coop, this dude went full-on psycho. He got his hands on a military-grade chopper, a custom, tiger-shaped, searchlight-equipped, net cannon-firing beast. Where does a chef even get that? He then used this illegal war machine to chase ducks across the entire country, causing reckless endangerment for literally everyone. But wait, it gets even wilder. He finally corners the duck fam and tries to skewer a child with a giant roasting fork. A kid with a fork! This man was going to make duck kebabs out of a baby. Absolutely barbaric. His downfall. He gets pelted with produce and ends up dangling from his own out-of-control helicopter. For his insane flight violations and his foul-mouthed pursuit of the mallards, the chef is getting a whopping 4.25 years in a max security joint, a $505,000 fine, and we're stripping him of all his licenses. No more flying blenders for you, buddy. You're done. 12th, Aloysius O'Hare. Next up, climbing out of a literal cloud of smog, we have the king of corruption, the pint-sized villain with a giant ego, Aloysius O'Hare. This tiny titan proves that the most evil people often come in the smallest, slickest packages. This guy literally weaponized capitalism and turned a city's air into his personal ATM. His entire empire is built on one monstrous crime, a city-wide AIR pollution scheme. He made the air so toxic that people had to buy his bottled air. Talk about a monopoly. O'Hare is a master of intimidation, ruling his artificial town with two hulking bodyguards, Morty and McGurk, like some evil mini-dictator. He hates anything that threatens his profits, especially something as radical as a free, oxygen-producing tree. So, when a teenage kid named Ted goes looking for a real tree, O'Hare goes into full-blown stalker mode. He uses surveillance cameras to spy on Ted, trespasses in his home to threaten his family, and even steals their cookie plate. The audacity! Then he jumps in his ridiculous O'Hare mobile, doing some insane reckless driving just to stop one tiny seed from being planted. When Ted finally brings the seed to town, O'Hare goes full mob boss, inciting the citizens against him, preying on their fears and ignorance. And get this, when he thought he'd lost, he sang a gleeful little song about letting the seed die. No redemption arc here, folks. His defeat, chef's kiss. He gets strapped to a jet-powered helmet and launched into the very polluted sky he helped create. Boom! For his crimes against the environment and the citizens of Thneedville, O'Hare is getting 27 years in federal prison and a monstrous $100,267,010 fine to pay for the city's reforestation. You love to see it. 11. The Onceler. The Onceler rolls up to Truffalo Valley, a paradise, right? And what's his big idea? A Thneed. He chops down one tree, and the Lorax, basically the tree police, shows up like, bruh, what are you doing? And this dude promises he'll stop. But you know what? That promise was as fake as my diet on a cheat day. He starts off kinda chill, harvesting sustainably, but then his family shows up, whispering sweet nothings about cash money, and he goes full super villain. We're talking illegal logging on a scale so massive it makes your backyard shed look like a skyscraper. He industrializes deforestation, brings in the super axe hacker like, who even names a machine that, and just wipes out the entire Truffalo Valley. We're talking total environmental destruction. The sky turned into a smog monster, the water became goo, and the animals gone. The barbaloots, the swami swans, the hummingfish, all homeless because of this dude's greed. And then, the ultimate betrayal, he chops down the very last truffalo tree. Talk about being a menace to society. He literally destroyed a world for profit. So, for being the ultimate nature hater, the once Lear gets 31.33 years of replanting trees by hand. No super axe hacker for you, buddy. Plus, a $5,570,250 fine. You broke it, you bought it, Onceler. Get to work. 10. The Bear Gang. Breaking into our top 10, we have a trio of villains who embody brute force and old-school criminal intimidation. The Bear Gang. These dudes aren't playing. They're basically the Animal Kingdom's organized crime unit, operating out of some shady backroom club, all about that gambling and intimidation life. And who do they beef with? Mike, the tiny mouse from the bottom of our list. So, Mike tries to pull a fast one, right? And what's the leader's reaction? He tries to eat him, like straight up murder. They hunt Mike down and then the classic mob move, coercion. They corner Mike, he spills the beans about spending their money, and again, they try to eat him. His only escape is promising them Buster Moon's prize money. And this is where things get wild. They roll up to the Moon Theater, and the leader, in a fit of rage, smashes the prize chest. The whole dang theater comes crashing down. We're talking massive property destruction. They just ditch the scene, leaving everyone for dead. No remorse, no apologies, just pure chaos. But they're not done. Mike's on TV during the big outdoor concert, and these guys are back like a bad habit, kidnapping him in the middle of Mina's song. They drag him into an alley for one last attempt at murder, only to be stopped by Mike's girl Nancy. These bears are relentless, terrifying, and utterly ruthless. For all their attempted murders, destroying property, and being total mob bosses, the Bear Gang is sentenced to life in a maximum security wildlife preserve. Good luck escaping that, plus 9 years of mandatory anger management therapy and a $5 million fine to fix that broken theater. Y'all are going to be hibernating in jail for a long time. 9. Jimmy Crystal. Jimmy Crystal proves that even rich dudes can be totally unhinged. This guy isn't plotting to take over the world, he's just got the thinnest skin on the planet. Owner of Crystal Entertainment, more like owner of Cry Yes, Tal About My Ego Entertainment. From the jump, this dude is giving off mega I'm gonna throw you off a skyscraper vibes, and guess what? He means it. Buster Moon literally just pitched an idea, and Jimmy's already planning his human-sized yeet into oblivion. And when he thinks Buster fired his totally talented daughter, Portia, oh boy, the dude goes full-on psycho, ready to commit first-degree attempted murder right in his office. What stopped him? A media interview. Because his public image is apparently more important than, you know, not being a murderer. Then he's all like, "Closet time, Buster." That is false imprisonment, people. And when Buster escapes and pulls off the show of a lifetime, Jimmy unleashes his goons, tries to finish him on stage, and literally throws him off a platform. Again! This guy's basically got a kill switch for anyone who mildly annoys him. His public arrest was the sweet, sweet icing on the revenge cake. For this absolute madman's shenanigans, he's looking at 2 life sentences for attempted murder, plus 14 years for false imprisonment, and a measly $1,000 fine. Talk about a bargain for trying to kill someone twice. Smash that like button if you think he deserved more. 8. Snowball, bouncing into our number 8 spot, is the most ferocious, fluffy face of radical extremism you will ever see. Snowball, don't let that adorable face fool you. This little furball is a straight-up domestic terrorist and the mastermind behind an army of sewer-dwelling, pet-hating outcasts. This is an organized crime syndicate with a genocidal agenda. Snowball, the charismatic leader of the Flushed Pets, rules with fiery speeches and a side of psychopathy. He pulls off a daring prison break, ambushing an animal control van like it's a Fast and Furious movie. We're talking Grand Theft Auto and fiery explosions. My man even tries to initiate Max and Duke into his crew with a giant viper. That's attempted murder by snakebite. Seriously, who does that? When he finds out they're spies, it's on. He declares a blood feud, chasing them across the city, causing mayhem everywhere. He's responsible for the Viper's demise, accessory to manslaughter at least, commits multiple counts of assault, imagine getting beat up by a bunny, and even steals a city bus for another round of Grand Theft Auto. This bunny is a tactical genius with crayon-drawn plans. Even though he got adopted in the end, for most of the movie, Snowball was the most dangerous criminal on 4 paws. For leading a terrorist organization and all his felonies, he's looking at 2 life sentences, plus 126 years, and a $387,500 fine. Absolute legend of villainy. 7. Carlos, a villain whose ambition is as big as his Napoleon complex, the feathered fiend of Easter Island, Carlos. He was the Easter Bunny's second in command for 20 years, stewing in his own bitter bird juices, just waiting to pull off the ultimate betrayal. High treason. He saw the bunny dip out and was like, my time to shine. And when some random human named Fred shows up, Carlos frames him for murder with a roasted turkey. Then he declares martial law and rounds up all the rabbits for mass false imprisonment. Seriously, this chick's got issues. But wait, it gets better. The Pink Berets try to stop him, and he just neutralizes them with weaponized chocolate. That's right, he turned your favorite snack into a weapon of assault. Then he ties up the Easter Bunny and Fred with licorice and tries to execute them in a vat of boiling candy. That's 2 counts of attempted murder with a side of creative diabetes. But his ultimate crime, the one that makes my blood boil, he tries to ruin Easter by replacing all the good candy with birdseed, dried crickets, and worms. That's a straight-up violation of food safety laws and a war crime against joy. He steals the egg of destiny, turns into a muscle-bound chicken bunny freak, and for all this chaos, he gets the death penalty, plus 3 life sentences, plus 188 years, plus a $300,000 fine. And his new job? Pulling the egg sleigh for life. What a loser. 6th Vector. Victor Vector. Perkins is the perfect storm of genius-level intellect and cringy, awkward nerdiness. He might look like he spends all his time in his mum's basement, but his criminal ambitions are literally out of this world. First, he pulls off the ultimate flex. Grand larceny of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Yeah, you heard me. He stole a pyramid and replaced it with an inflatable one. But that was just his warm-up act. This dude was planning to steal the moon, not a toy moon, the actual moon. That's a crime against physics, romance, and literally every werewolf on the planet. He steals the top-secret shrink ray, not once, but twice, just to flex on Gru. His lair is a paranoid genius's wet dream with spring-loaded boxing gloves and a live shark in his living room floor. Talk about animal cruelty, my guy. But then, he goes full villain mode. He kidnaps Margot, Edith, and Agnes from their dance recital. That's child abduction. He tries to ransom them for the moon, and when Gru delivers, Vector proves he's got zero honor, refusing to release them and firing missiles at Gru. That's straight-up first-degree attempted murder. This spoiled, arrogant, orange jumpsuited menace gets what he deserves. 3 life sentences plus 86 years, chilling in a low-orbit penal colony on the very moon he stole. Direction and magnitude, my friends. Oh yeah. 5. El Macho. Exploding into our top 5 with the force of 250 pounds of dynamite is the legend, the myth, the manliest villain to ever grace the screen. El Macho. This dude didn't just walk away from his villain career, he faked his own death by riding a shark into an active volcano. That's a lava-soaked, shark-chomped, totally metal exit strategy. For 20 years, the world thought he was a charcoal briquette, but nope. He was just chilling, running a successful Mexican restaurant called Salsa y Salsa. Talk about the ultimate deep cover. Who suspects the guy serving you enchiladas of plotting world domination? But plot he did. This absolute madman masterminded the grand theft of a secret lab and its super secret, super dangerous PX-41 mutagen. How'd he do it? With a giant magnet-shaped aircraft, obviously. And what's his grand plan for this glowing purple goo? He starts mass kidnapping Grus, adorable, banana-obsessed minions, turning them into indestructible, hairy, purple killing machines. This is a biological, weapon-wielding, minion-mutating global threat. He's a terrorist, a mad scientist, and a strategist all rolled into one, with enough charisma to try and recruit Gru back to the dark side. And when Gru says no, he straps Lucy Wilde to a TNT-laden rocket aimed at the same volcano. That's attempted murder, folks, for his world-conquering, minion destroying antics. El Macho gets a whopping 7 life sentences plus 99 years plus a $201,000 fine. Oh, and the ultimate savage blow. He has to eat store-bought guacamole for the rest of his life. Ouch. 4. Balthazar Bratt. Dance fighting his way into the number 4 spot is the living embodiment of a midlife crisis. The 80s obsessed agent of chaos, Balthazar Bratt. What was his ultimate downfall, you ask? His wildly popular 80s TV show Evil Brat got cancelled when he hit puberty and his voice started cracking. That's it. Not world hunger, not a supervillain rival, but a case of teenage acne. So he decides to make the entire world pay for his fallen stardom, specifically Hollywood, because you know, terrorism is the only logical next step. This dude is a master thief and a technological terror, armed with an arsenal of 80s-themed gadgets that are as ridiculous as they are deadly. We're talking sonic keytars, weaponized Rubik's Cubes, and rapidly expanding bubblegum. His first big score? The grand larceny of the Dumont Diamond, the largest diamond in the world, which he then uses to power a giant robot replica of himself. Seriously, a giant robot with a mullet. He then unleashes this colossal monstrosity on Hollywood, causing billions in property destruction and planning to lift the entire district into outer space with his indestructible bubblegum. That's attempted murder on a city-wide scale. But Bratt's villainy gets even more personal. He disguises himself as Lucy Wilde. Talk about identity fraud. Then kidnaps Gru's 3 adorable daughters and holds them hostage. That's straight-up child abduction. This delusional narcissistic man-child gets 2 death sentences, plus 3 life sentences, plus 181 years, plus a $40,000 fine, and his precious keytar confiscated. You go, Bratt. Right to jail. 3. Scarlet Overkill. Coming in hot at number 3, it's the fashionista of felonious acts, the queen of the comeback. Scarlet Overkill. Yo, this woman didn't just break the glass ceiling, she shattered it with a stolen diamond-encrusted hammer. She literally built an empire of evil from scratch, making every other villain look like they're still playing with building blocks. Her ultimate goal? Oh, just a casual bit of high treason. She wants to snatch the crown of St. Edward and become the Queen of England. Talk about a hostile takeover. And get this, when she hires the minions, she tells them a bedtime story, implying she'll brutally murder them if they screw up. That's not a lullaby, that's a death threat wrapped in a fairy tale. Then, when Bob accidentally becomes king, classic minion move, Scarlet's jealousy meter goes off the charts. She tries to murder her allies for stealing her spotlight. Even after she gets the crown, she's not satisfied. She throws them in a dungeon for some good old-fashioned false imprisonment and torture. But her most unhinged moment? When those adorable yellow chaotic agents accidentally drop a chandelier on her, she retaliates with a weapon of mass destruction. She launches a nuclear lava missile at Kevin and the entire minion tribe. That's attempted mass murder. She was willing to wipe out an entire species because she got a boo-boo. For her high treason and attempted genocide, Scarlet Overkill gets the ultimate combo meal. Death, plus 3 life sentences, plus 102 years, plus a $27,550,000 fine. Second bell bottom. Sliding into the number 2 spot with more sass than a 70s funk band and a heart colder than a forgotten ice tray, it's the leader of the Vicious Six, the groove-killing goddess, Bell Bottom. This woman is the definition of cutthroat ambition, rising to the top by literally stabbing her mentor in the back or, pushing him off a cliff. That's assault and attempted murder against your own boss. Savage, once she's queen of the villain squad, her main mission is to snag the Zodiac Stone. But then an 11-year-old Gru, yeah, that Gru, snatches it from them. Bell's response, eliminate the child. She and her crew launch a city-wide manhunt, which includes some delightful false imprisonment and torture for Gru's minions. Then, for good measure, they commit an act of terrorism by blowing up Wild Knuckles' house with explosives just because, and it gets even crazier. During the Chinese New Year parade, Belle and her crew unleash the Zodiac Stone, turning into giant, monstrous versions of themselves. Belle transforms into a colossal, fire-breathing Eastern dragon, bringing property destruction and chaos to an entire city, all for a rock and a kid. She's the leader of an organized crime syndicate, a backstabbing betrayer, a terrorist, and a magical monster. For her litany of crimes, including treason against the villain community, yes, that's a thing, terrorism, and attempted murder, Bell Bottom is sentenced to death plus 3 life sentences plus 186.5 years plus a $267,250 fine. And her platform boots? Confiscated. First, Bowser. And now, for the main event, taking his rightful throne at the absolute peak of villainy, the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of crime, the one, the only, King Bowser. This guy makes other villains look like they're running a lemonade stand. He kicks off his reign of terror with a full-scale military invasion of the Snow Kingdom, melting their entire ice palace with his fiery breath. That's kingdom-wide arson. Then he commits grand larceny by stealing their sacred superstar and mass kidnapping by taking the entire penguin population hostage. And that's just the warm-up act. His entire motivation is fueled by a creepy, delusional obsession with Princess Peach. He plans to force her into marriage, a heinous act of forced marriage. And his proposal? A global act of extortion and terrorism. Marry him, or he'll use the superstar to wipe out her kingdom. This dude is a sadistic tyrant even to his own troops. He casually murders one of his Koopa soldiers by burning him to a crisp just for questioning him. He locks his own troops in cages. He literally tortures Luigi for information and threatens to kill him just to break Mario's spirit. And it gets worse. His wedding to Peach is set to be the stage for his most monstrous crime yet, attempted genocide. He plans to execute all of his prisoners, including the penguins and the Kongs, by dropping them into a pit of lava as a romantic tribute. When Peach rebels, Bowser unleashes a bomberbill to destroy Peach's castle, a second act of attempted genocide. He is a sadistic, cruel, insecure, unbelievably powerful tyrant. He's a king, a sorcerer, a warlord, and a psycho. For his crimes against literally everyone and everything, Bowser is sentenced to 3 death sentences plus 8 life sentences plus 2,077 years in a maximum security dungeon plus a fine of $100,025,000. Court is adjourned.